Welcome to the DD1324 online lectures. In this lesson, we will learn about command line arguments. For many C programs, it's extremely useful to be able to take input from the command line. For example, the shell command ls can take arguments from the command line like this. Or the shell command cat. You can say cat and then a file name. So let's look at how we can write a C program that can handle command line parameters. The parameters given on the command line are passed to a C program in the main function through two predefined variables. These variables are argc, which gives the number of the command line arguments as an integer, and argv, which is a pointer array, or an array of pointers, each pointing to strings containing the actual parameters. So let's look at different ways we can call the main function in C. First, you have the one we've been using so far, which just says int main and then open and close parentheses with no command line parameters. Another way of writing this to say that there's no command line parameters is to put void. Here we're saying that there's an argc number of command line parameters that are passed into the main function as an integer. And then there's argv, a pointer array, which contains the actual strings, or which contains pointers to the actual strings that are coming from the command line. Here you can see another way that you can write the same expression. So if you want to call a program with 3 command line parameters, you could do it like this. If the name of your program is myprog, you say /a -e. These could be 2 flags that you want to use to do some kind of functions in your program, and then a string afterwards. So in this case, argc will be 4. The first one is the name of the program. The second one is -a. The third is -e, and the last is a string. And here you can see how it would be blocked out in the memory. The first, so argv of 0 points to myprog, a string, argv of 1 to -a, argv of 2 to -e, and argv of 3 to a string. If you don't put the double quote string denominators, any arguments will be broken apart by spaces. So now let's look at how we can write a program that'll actually take an argument from the command line and print it. So we'll begin by including stdio.h, which we need for the printf command, and then we'll also include string.h, which you'll see why we use this later. So, and now the most important thing for this lesson is we're going to change the way we were writing the main function. So now instead of main open and close parentheses, inside of these parentheses we'll say int argc char star argv. So argc is going to contain the number of arguments, and argv is a pointer array with pointing at the strings that are read in from the command line. So now we can start, let's make a counter variable, so we'll call it int I, and then we can first do a very simple printf and say the number of arguments argc, and then we can say equals and %d for an integer, and this will print out the number of arguments that were passed by the command line. So now let's make a for loop that that loops through all the arguments given in argv. So, and it's important to remember that the 0th argument is always the program's name. Right, So let's make a for loop. So for I is equal to 0, we initialize it. I is less than argc, the number of arguments. And we do our loop. And then for each iteration of the loop, we'll do a printf. And we'll say the argument within that element of the array is equal to, and then print out the string. So %i, that's the integer. Oh, we can, yeah. So that's our loop variable, a counter, and then we give it a pointer to, or the element of the array, the string. And now, so now this should compile. So let's see, gcc print arguments.c minus o print arguments /print arguments, and then we can make up some flags. So -f, -e, -g, a, df, and we can even put a string, hello world. And there you can see the first argument is the command itself, and then you can see all separated by the spaces, all the different arguments after that. This concludes our lecture on command line arguments. Thank you for watching.